Hi, in this video I explain about a topic from the fourth module of the embedded systems. The topic I discuss is chip fabrication, and I have also included subtopics that are chip fabrication, firmware loading for OS-based devices, and board power-up. So the first topic is chip fabrication. I hope in the previous video you have learned about there are the various methods which are used for embedding the firmware into the target processor. There are various methods, and we are discussing of another possibility for embedding the firmware into the target processor, that is the chip. It is possible to embed the firmware into the target processor or controller memory at the time of chip fabrication. So we can embed the firmware into the target processor at the time of chip fabrication. And why do we do that is that there are cases or there are situations when numerous machines are developed or produced or manufactured which are having numerous number of similar chips with similar firmwares in it. So it is not practically possible in order to manually embed each chips with the same program each time. So it's better. The best option to be chosen is that to embed the same firmware into the chips while manufacturing those chips. And there is a definition for such chips which are manufactured from the factory along with the embedding process being completed. That is, chips onto which the firmware is embedded during chip fabrication is known as factory programmed chips. Okay, there are advantages and disadvantages for this factory programmed chips. As I have said that we make use of this opportunity. That is why we make use of factory programmed chips only in case of mass productions. That is, factory programmed chips are convenient for what mass production application, and it reduces the product development time. And there is also a disadvantage, that is the factory programmed ICs are a bit expensive. We use it only for mass production to overcome the expense of each of these ICs. So let's have a look at three steps involved, or let's have a look at the steps involved in producing factory programmed chips, that are firmware design. That is, the firmware design is to be completed. That is, when the firmware attains operational stability. We could say that the firmware design is completed only when the firmware has attained operational stability. What do we mean by operational stability? We design a firmware to be embedded into a machine, and the firmware is expected to be stable in case of some kinds of operations. That is, a machine we manufacture is expected to perform certain functionalities as per the requirement. So such functionalities are implemented using the firmware designs, operations, and the operations included in the firmware design. So the firmware design must include all the expected operations that are to be done by the machine. So once the firmware design includes all the operation, the firmware will attain the operational stability. And only such firmwares who has attained operational stability is only capable of being sent to the manufacturing unit to be embedded into the chips. Then the firmware is actually sent to the factory where the chips are being manufactured. How the firmwares are sent is that the firmwares are sent in the form of firmware files. The firmware designer, after completing the firmware design, sends firmware files to the manufacturing unit where the chips are being manufactured, and then what they does is that they will embed the firmware which is obtained into the core memory of each of the chips. And we know that the advantage is that factory programmed chips are convenient for mass production application, and it reduces the product development time. Firmware loading for OS-based devices is our next topic. So we know we have discussed the different types of embedding techniques in the previous video, and we choose particular embedding techniques for OS-based embedded systems and non-OS-based embedded systems. Generally, for OS-based embedded systems, we program these systems using ISP technique, and let's have a look at the OS based embedded systems. That is, in general, our PCs, the mobile phones we use, or any devices we use will have an operating system. So any device with an operating system will have a bootloader in it. What is the purpose of a bootloader in general systems we use is that once the system is booted up, the bootloader executes automatically, and the bootloader is also a program code which gets executed. And what is the function of the bootloader is that it brings the operating system image into the RAM for the execution of the operating system, and all the next activities of the system is controlled by the operating system. Any program is to be brought into the RAM for being executed, and we all know that fact. And in case of our systems or the general purpose computers we use, we have enough disk space for each of these essential program codes like bootloader or operating system. But the embedded systems will not be having enough space to store the piece of codes like operating system or bootloader. So there are chances when we need to load such operating systems into the embedded systems, or even there are situations when we need to load the bootloader programs. So let's have a look at it. In OS based embedded system contains special piece of code called bootloader. There are special piece of code called bootloader. And let's see what are the roles of this bootloader. Bootloader takes control of the OS and application firmware embedding and copying of the OS image to the RAM of system for execution. That is the purpose of we using bootloader is that it copies the OS image into the RAM for the operating system. It takes control of the operating system and application firmware embedding too. And then another point is the bootloader. We know bootloader is a piece of code, and there could be chances like the embedded system is storing the bootloader code in the system itself. So the bootloader can be preloaded or it can be loaded to the memory using various interfaces. The OS image is being loaded to the RAM by the bootloader, and we know that the embedded systems will not be having the OS image in it or the operating system code within it. So the operating system code also needs to be loaded into. So the bootloader implements menu options for selecting the source for OS image to load. It is possible to load the operating system image from various sources. Such sources from which we load the operating system image is that we can load it from flash ROM, load from network, load from UART. So in the textbook, we are discussing in detail about the option when we load the operating system image from the network. Our bootloader provides many options for selecting from which source we need to load the operating system. So in case if we need to load the operating system from the network, what happens is that we know what is a network. Network is a group of computers or group of systems or devices being interconnected, and they share some resources. So being in a network, our target device which is now in need of OS image is also a part of the network, and the bootloader which is working in our target, that's what is that the bootloader broadcasts a message to each of the device in the network. That is the first step that we do in loading the OS image from the network. The first step is that in case of network-based loading, the bootloader broadcasts the target's presence over the network. Bootloader broadcasts message to all the devices in the network. Hence, the presence of the target can be identified by each device in the network. There will be many devices in the network, but not all the devices will be having the operating system image. We call the machines in the network which is having an operating system image a host machine. So, as any other device in the network, the host machine also receives the broadcast message from the bootloader of the target device. So, that is the second point. what the host machine does. That is, the host machine on which the OS image resides can identify the target device by capturing the broadcast message. The next step is that is the step 2 is that the host machine identifies the target device in the network by capturing this broadcast message. So the host machine is having the voice image along with that. So next step is the step 3, that what happens after the identification of the target device and host machine is that a communication link is established between the host and the target machine. A communication link is established between them, and after the communication link is established, the OS image is directly downloaded to the flash memory of the target device. So the OS image from the host machine is downloaded to the flash memory of the target device. These are the 3 steps involved. And the next topic is board power up. It's a very simple topic. We're just referring to the same. That is it is the next step after embedding the firmware into target board. And the next step is known as the powering up of the board. That is what we generally do after we completing the firmware embedding into the target board. The chip is ready to perform its function along with the machine. So what we does next is we just power up the board, but not in all the situations the first power up will not be a success. We have done many projects using Arduinos or any kind of microcontroller or microprocessor chips. We After embedding the firmware into these chips, we will keep the chips, or we will put the chips in its actual place, and we power up the board, and most of the cases we would witness an explosion. Sometimes the first power up may end up in a messy explosion. This can be due to many reasons like power applied, polarity, components chosen, etc. So before you power up the board, make sure everything is inactive. So we have completed all the 3 topics of the video. So let's go for a summary. Chips onto which firmware is embedded during chip fabrication is known as factory programmed chips. So that's the definition of the factory programmed chips. We know why we use factory programmed chips is that factory programmed chips are convenient for mass production application, and it reduces product development time. That's the major advantage. That is, it reduces product development time. Then is the next topic, that is firmware loading for OS-based devices. We have a piece of code called bootloader in any OS-based device in order to load the OS into the RAM. So the roles of the bootloader is that bootloader takes control of the OS and application firmware embedding and copying of the OS image to the RAM of system for execution. Okay. Then the bootloader is also a piece of code, and even the bootloader will not be present in the embedded system. So the bootloader also can be preloaded, or it can be loaded to the memory using various interfaces. Then the bootloader implements menu options from menu options which include different sources from where the OS image can be loaded. The sources include OS image can be loaded from flash ROM, network, or through UART. Okay, then we have discussed in detail about the option of loading the OS image from the network. That included 3 steps. That is, the bootloader in the target processor sends broadcast message to each of the device in the network. Then the host machine, which is having the operating system image along with it, identifies the target's presence in the network. And then the third step is a communication link is established between the host and target machine, and the OS image is directly downloaded to the flash memory of the target device. These are the 3 steps involved in loading the OS to the embedded system, which is OS based. Thank you.